Anyway, so I'll introduce you to Sensei Simon. Okay, he runs and helps our classes at Watford Junior School. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, Mr. Watts, about what we do, and so parents can have an insight about you and also about ZKS.
Okay.
So my first question, what got you into martial arts and how long have you been training?
Okay, I think I've been training for about 20 years, but probably not consistently for 20 years. I trained for something like 8 or 10 years, then there was a bit of a gap where I trained inconsistently, and then probably picked training up again about 6 years ago.
Okay.
And I suppose what got me into martial arts was probably watching things like Bruce Lee and Jean-Claude Van Damme and maybe Jackie Chan on the TV when I was little with my dad. And then I went to university, and at the Freshers' Fair I tried to find Kung Fu or perhaps Karate. They didn't have any of that, and someone dragged me over and said, "This is Jiu-Jitsu. Do you want to have a look at that?" And I did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So how long have you been with us?
I think probably I've been associated with you for about 4 years. I think you were probably instrumental in reawakening my love for martial arts again. So 4 years sort of on and off, I think, and then I was training with you guys for a bit, and then you asked me if I could come and have one on a Saturday. So I think about 4 years.
Excellent. Obviously that leads on to the next question. What classes do you normally attend, and what do you normally help us with?
Okay, normally I'm here on a Saturday from 9 o'clock in the morning until we finish at 2 at Watford Junior School. On occasion I might help out on a Monday or a Wednesday, but my time's a little bit more limited during the week, but typically on a Saturday.
Nice. Excellent. Well, it's always good to have you. So what aspects do you like working as a martial arts instructor as a kid?
What do I like the best? I think it's probably something to do with seeing the children over time. So there are children that I would have met 3 or 4 years ago and maybe found it tricky just because of their age and stage, and really seeing the progression that they've made over the last 3 or 4 years. I think that's one of my favourite things.
Excellent. And what other hobbies or interests do you have?
Outside martial arts? Or?
Well, yeah, outside martial arts.
Well, I suppose I do have another hobby inside martial arts. It's not the Tai Jitsu that we're doing, which is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I really like that, and that's a massive surprise for me because about 4 or 5 years ago I watched some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, hated it, and now I love it. Outside of martial arts, I suppose what do? I do a lot of reading. I read pretty much anything and everything that will come under my nose. I read a lot of fiction, quite like science fiction, quite like historical fiction. Also trying to read as much as I can about education so that I can think about my job. And I suppose that is with you at ZKS and what we do with the students through martial arts and what I do at the school. On occasion I make my own wine and beer. That's had some success.
Interesting.
Some success and some limited success. But yeah, it's about a journey, right?
Yeah, for sure. What do you think we do well at ZKS?
What do I think we do well? I think the thing that we do well is include everybody. And I find that really interesting because, as I sort of intimated a few minutes ago, I came from a traditional martial arts background, and I suppose it was kind of this is the rules, this is what you're expected to do, and you had to meet that standard. Whereas at ZKS, we take all comers, anybody can come to us and we'll work with them, and it's about the progress that child or those children make, measured against themselves, not in comparison to anybody else, but how do they get on week by week? What does that look like over a term? And as I was just saying a minute ago, what does that look like over 4 or 5 years? I think that's one of our best aspects.
No, thank you. Obviously, you're instrumental in making sure that happens, of course. So, what advice would you give someone who is new to ZKS martial arts?
As a student?
As a student, yes.
What would I give advice? Be patient. I think I try to ask children to be patient. I was actually having a conversation with a child today, one of the boys he's been coming here for maybe about 6 or 8 weeks, and he was saying, well, how long will it be till I get my black belt? There are always these goals that we're striving to achieve, and I think sometimes what we can do is get too head up at looking at the next progression point, the next belt, rather than just enjoying where you are, I suppose, on the journey, because it's, those progression points or those differences between the belt are limited, but if you're practicing martial arts, that's week in, week out over years. That's I think enjoying think enjoy the journey.
Okay, and then similar question. What advice would you give parents that bring their children to us for the first time to ZKS martial arts?
I suppose a few bits of advice. I think tell us about your child. If there's anything that's quirky or unusual about your child, let us know about it, because we'll work with anybody. I think this is a bit of a funny dichotomy, because on one hand I think I'd want the parents to be patient as well and allow the child to enjoy where they are on their martial arts journey, but also ensure that they do push them a little bit and get them to think about practicing. I think that's all about balance. The other thing that's always really helpful is, this is just a real procedural thing, I suppose, but about making sure that you arrive for class on time, I suppose.
Okay. Okay, cool. Lastly, have you got anything else that you'd like to add that could be helpful for our members or our parents?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I don't know, actually. I'll have to have a bit of a think about that. Any other advice to members or parents? I suppose it would be that if you're interested in any way in martial arts, go and give it a go. If you're not really interested, go and give it a go, because you might find something that you really love, I suppose. And I think of that because of my own experience with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. When I first saw it, coming from a traditional Jiu-Jitsu background, I thought it was a load of rubbish. I wasn't interested in it at all. But I absolutely love it now, and that's all I seem to want to do. So I think you've got to be a bit open-minded sometimes.
Okay. Just expect the unexpected, I suppose.
Yeah, expect the unexpected, and I suppose I sort of think if you go and give something a try, you've not got much to lose if you don't like it.
No.
You've given it a try, don't like it, maybe you'll try something else, but you might be surprised and find something that you really love and takes you in a different direction with your life, I suppose.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thank you, Sensei Simon. It's a pleasure, as always.
Thank you.
So, if you want to hear more about what we get up to at ZKS, please feel free to come and talk to us. I know sometimes it's a little bit difficult to grab us when we're taking lessons, but we are here to help, and we are here to try and help you through the process of learning martial arts. So we're here. I can't say any more than that, can I? Really? I've said it about 5 times. Anyway, thanks very much, and see you in the next class.
Yes, you will.